Honor Huff and his ability to get off a lot of threes. What makes him difficult to guard?
Well, small guys have been small their whole life, so they know how to manipulate their speed, catch and release, looking for small windows of openings. And Ross does a really good job of getting him in and out of those screens. And if you make a mistake, he's going to get it off. And his range, he's as far out as he goes, that's how far he can shoot.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead, sir.
Kelvin, before I get to the basketball stuff, today's a pretty big day with Miss Karen's birthday. Wondering, did you do any shopping yet, or how's that gone for you this week?
Um, you know, when I was at Washington State, we were on a road trip to play Stanford and Cal back in the early 90s. And I completely forgot. And that cost me dearly. So I never forget anymore. As soon as I went to bed last night, I had two notifications on my phone that popped up, and then I woke up to a notification this morning. So that was about 6:30 or so, 6:15. Um, so I made sure I went and gave her a hug, told her I loved her, happy birthday. I just didn't know how. I always wondered how it felt to be married to a 70-year-old woman. Now I know.
uh, on the basketball front, Kelvin, just going back to Saturday, and I was curious when some coaches find an identity, I guess, for how they want their teams to play, or maybe it changes from year to year. But when did you decide your teams were going to be that holy trinity, that you were going to focus on the defense, taking care of the ball, and um, I'm drawing a blank on the other one. I apologize. The rebounding.
Yeah. Um, it was a long time ago. Um, we were good at all three. Um, I don't think I identified it on paper. Probably we were good at it at Washington State. Those last few teams there was really good. I think my last two games I coached at Washington State in the regular season, we had to beat Stanford. Coach Montgomery, his best player was Brevin Knight, and we had to beat Cal. The best player was Jason Kidd and Lamont Murray. And um, I don't remember the scores of the games, but I remember uh, talking about those three things constantly during the course of the season. And I remember making a note that that's how we beat Stanford. We rebounded, we defended, we took care of the ball. Um, Cal was difficult to guard. You guys would have to help me. I think we might have scored 90 in that game, but I had some really good offensive players. Um, um, I had three guys on that team that played in the NBA on that last Washington State team. Nate Erdman got drafted. Mark Henderson got drafted. As Isaac Fontaine went on to score over 2,000 points at Washington State, and I know he got call ups from the G League to the Memphis Grizzlies and maybe a couple other teams. I can't remember. That team could score. Um, um, so it's been a long time, Joseph. I mean, just stumble onto it, you know, last 2 years. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we do I don't even talk about. You'd probably ask the same thing. It's just who we are every day.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Go ahead, Chris.
Kelvin, you mentioned Ross Hodge. He started at coaching at junior colleges. I think played at that level. What have you seen from him as what he's done in a short period of time here?
Well, first of all, when Grant McCaslin left North Texas, um, it showed right away what they thought of Ross because they made him the head coach of North Texas. And um, I've always admired his work from afar. You know, his teams play the right way. They play hard, really well coached, very disciplined. Um, and so when the athletic director at West Virginia, who was the AD at North Texas, so he knew who he wanted to hire. And then the one, I'm sure there was no search. He identified Ross early on, and when Darian left, um, they went and got Ross in there, and he's showing in his first year what a great hire that was.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Are there any more questions for Coach Sampson today? I don't know. We got a couple more here, Coach. We'll go back. We'll go to Andy Yanez, please. Andy, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kelvin. How you doing?
Good, good, Andy.
Coach, I'm just curious if you could talk a little bit about Jojo Tugler and specifically the past couple of performances he's put, especially on rebounding. What have you seen from Jojo the last couple of games?
Um, well, JoJo didn't have a summer or a fall. So when we started in November, that was kind of like his June, July. December was kind of like July, August. January was more September, October. So the way the year has gone for Joe's has been what we kind of not thought it would. We knew that it would. Um, just watching him every day. You know, when season finished last year, I thought Joe's timing in just about everything we do was spot on. He's always where he should be in our coverage calls, um, getting in and out of ball screens, offensively, defensively, using his length to tip balls and keep them alive so we can, we've always used the term it takes two to get an offensive rebound, one to tip it, one to get it. So I don't know if you guys notice how many balls we tip, but that's actually part of our bubble drill is if you can't get it, tip it. And it takes a while for that stuff to connect. We get good at it. That's why I don't worry about November. November has no bearing on anything we're going to do the rest of the year, especially when you got four freshmen, Chris, Kingston, Isaiah, and Chase, who's never played in the game for us. So um, obviously they're going to get better in December and then better in January, and they'll be better in February, be better in March. But JoJo was like a freshman starting out, in that you know he played against Florida on the night of April 7th, and I didn't see him again go live 5-on-5 until the end of October. So his first thing was getting in shape and getting his cardio. Um, I don't even remember what he did against Ole Miss and Mississippi State because we're just trying to get him some win in those games. But he's getting back to where he was at the end of last year. He's coming along. JoJo's still going to improve in just about every area. Uh, Knock on wood, he's staying in the game long enough to impact our defense. We don't have another JoJo. So when JoJo goes out of the game, our defense isn't near as good. Kind of like the old Baltimore Colts. When Johnny Unitas went out, their offense wasn't near as good.
Thank you, Andy. We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, right now football is going through its 2 week transfer portal, and I was wondering. I know with basketball, it's different in terms of numbers, but you look at uh, teams, and a couple of them that you played recently sort of been real transfer heavy with their lineups. What has it been about you guys that I believe since you've been there, at least in the last 8 years, you can count on, less than two hands the number of guys that you've either lost through the transfer, or not needing to bring as many guys in? What is that? What's been the key for you in terms of the retention part, and then just the developmental part of having your guys, your homegrown guys, take those roles in the lineup?
Oh, for us, recruiting starts with evaluation. You know, we pick and choose the guys we want to coach. Um, there's a lot of kids that you'll say, well, Houston, Coach Sampson offered this kid, offered that kid, and next thing you know, they signed with another school. Um, um, there's always different reasons for that. Sometimes they just don't fit us. Choosing not to recruit a kid after we've offered him sometimes is the best thing for that kid, because now he'll go play for a school where it's probably a better fit for him. But the kids that we choose to sign, are kids that character-wise, integrity-wise, coaching-wise, adversity-wise, we think they're good fits here, and they fit our culture. They'll be able to live up to our standards. That's about it.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Chris, go ahead.
Calvin, Jojo was saying that he thinks he and Chris are working better together. How have you seen them, sort of develop together, and the defense?
Yeah, this isn't rocket science. Um, uh, the first time they started playing together really was when the season started in November. JoJo couldn't practice, so just by osmosis, the longer they're out there together, the better they're going to be. Um, um, Chris is just trying to survive in November. But you guys hear me say stuff all the time. I don't really care about. Um, I mean, I care about it, obviously, but our results in November really is insignificant to me. Now, how you do it or how you view it, that's up to y'all. But for me, it's insignificant because it has nothing to do with what we're going to be doing later on. Um, Last year we lost to Auburn. We didn't deserve to win that game. We could have won it. We're good enough to win it. We just weren't ready to win it. Alabama should have won that game, but same thing. San Diego State, same thing. So there's no panic here on our side, or there was a clear understanding of here's the areas we need to get better in. Uh, uh, Chris left to go to USA tryouts or practices, whatever that was, and I think mid to late June, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so Chris missed 2 or 3 weeks there. I think when he got back, we were into July workouts, but the first time he was on the floor 5-on-5 live with JoJo for extended period of time was at the end of October, 1st of November. We played a game November 3rd. Um, I mean, I remember the Lehigh game and the Towson game. Some of those early games, it went exactly the way I thought they would. We looked sketchy, not a lot of chemistry, not a lot of coordination. But I kind of planned for that, and I don't. It would have been done anything else, it wouldn't have been fair. It would have been a flash in the pan. It takes time for a team to become a good team. It takes time for guys to buy into things that are bigger than themselves. It takes time for freshmen to realize nobody cares about your scrapbook anymore. Everybody's got a scrapbook, son. Um, you just got to buy in, and it takes a while to do that. That's uh, that's why there's some teams play their best basketball in November and December, and some teams play their best basketball at the end of the year. I've always thought that we tried to be the latter.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, how's Jacob McFarland been?
He's been getting better. He had his best practice last week, and Said was out for a day or so with we had the flu or virus run through. We had some guys miss practice. And one day when Seb was out, Jacob really had a good practice. And then he was sick Saturday. I was going to put him in the game earlier than I would have said on Saturday, but he got sick, and so John had him full of medication. But he's been coming along.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin. Go ahead, Chris.
Calvin, how has Chase become more competitive in, in terms of rebounding, defense, and when did you sort of see that start to switch in practice?
Um, I think in the summer and 4-on-4 workouts, uh, Chase isn't. Uh, he's kind of a weird size, and that he's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the backcourt and the front court. But Chase has really improved a lot. I have to give that young man a lot of credit. He is he had 5 offensive rebounds Saturday. I thought he was rushing his shot a little bit, but he could tell you be more accurate on that because he's the one shooting it. But every time Chase shoots the ball, I think it's going in. But sometimes a kid that's been known strictly as a shooter and he's adding other aspects to his game, like the rebounding, the defense, how hard we play, the competitiveness, the toughness. Sometimes you just your shot's different because of how you're playing. Prior to coming here, Chase didn't play a lot of defense. He certainly didn't play near as hard as he's playing now. Sometimes that takes an adjustment, but um, I have a lot of confidence in Chase. I feel good about putting him in games. Couldn't do that back in October or November um, as he was gaining confidence and being sure of himself. Um, because all these kids are different. They're going to miss shots. They're going to have breakdowns. They're not going to do this, not going to do that. And there's plenty of people that point that stuff out. But as long as they go compete hard in practice every day, that gives them a chance to be really good in games.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, you've always told us stories about when guys first get here or any of your stops about the defensive part of it and learning and having to buy in. But has there ever been a guy that's come in and I don't want to say surprised, but that was his game. That's sort of he didn't need to be bought in or to be pushed because that's kind of what he was to begin with coming in.
Yeah, just one. I had a kid at Oklahoma named Corey Brewer. He was from Carl Albert Junior College in Poto, Oklahoma, by way of West Memphis. Um, his senior year, Pat Riley called me before the draft, and Pat said he didn't have a first round pick. I don't remember the pick. You can look it up. What I can't remember the year, but they only had a second round pick, and Pat loved Corey Brewer, and he was about 6'2", hard nosed, tough kid. One of my favorites. Just a dog. I mean, he was tough. That's what I loved about him. There was two kids that in Oklahoma JUCO that year, and everybody loved the other kid, whereas I loved Corey. I was different than everybody thought that we would go after that kid. Matter of fact, I remember getting criticized because we didn't. Um, but obviously, we had a plan for Corey, and day one, he was a monster. His feet, his awareness, his toughness, his heart, his fight. He was elite in every area. That's the only kid I've had in 37 years.